Hello and good afternoon from your Co-op Community Stadium. I'm Shaun Cashmore and you join us once again for today's encounter between Leamington and AFC Fylde from the National League North. With Halloween fast approaching, it's been quite a frightful October for the Breaks so far. Leamington are without a win in October from their 3 games and in actual fact, without a win since their victory here over Kettering on the 13th of September. Leamington have had a few weeks of a squad reshuffle with both injuries and suspensions hampering manager Paul Holloran's selections. This week again was a story of the good and the bad for the Breaks, with Jack Lane once again being available for selection, but Steph Morley again picking up a knock means he's back on the injury list alongside the likes of Dan Turner and Kelsey Mooney. Fylde, on the other hand, are on somewhat of a resurgence, trying to move their way up the league and obtain a position that reflects the deep investment in their squad. The Coasters saw off Kidderminster midweek in an FA Cup replay that will now mean they will be at home to Gillingham on November the 5th. But for now, that has to be pushed to the back of their minds and the league must once again be the focus. Comes to the edge of the area with Kelly Evans, cleared away by Fylde. Meredith on that right-hand side, space to move into. Meredith shapes to shoot, does shoot, and it's only half a yard wide. Good effort from Meredith, but again, better attacking intent from the Breaks as we approach the 10-minute mark here at your Co-op Community Stadium.
Yeah, impressed so far. They've had their moments and they've had some possession, but with Rakim up front and the boys in behind, we've created something already, so that's good early signs.
Paul Holloran still on the sidelines. We still await information from the league if he will serve any sort of suspension from his sending off a few weeks ago. Fylde pick it up on the edge of the box. Horton snapshot. What's the finish? Left-footed, bent one in, around Theo Street, around Callum Hawkins, and just like we spoke about moments before, Nick Horton has got that in his locker, shifted it onto his left foot and ploughs home his 17th goal of the season, his 10th in the league, and the Break stood and watched as Callum Hawkins could get nowhere near it. Yeah,
really frustrating because hasn't necessarily looked like a game that they're going to make a breakthrough in short term. We've looked good. They're a good side, and as we said earlier, he can pick a goal from anywhere. Left foot, top corner. Callum Hawkins with absolutely no chance.
The likes of Lane and Street have joined the penalty box, and Usher Shipway hurls it in towards the bodies. Lane tries to win the flick on, can't do so. It'll come to Kelly Evans on the edge of the 18-yard box on this left-hand side. Helps it back in right-footed this time. Comes across everyone. Appeals for a penalty on Theo Street. Nothing doing, and we play on. Joe Clark tries to win it in the middle of the park, but Fylde have time now to break 3-on-3 on the edge of the Breaks box. They come forward with Whitehead. Whitehead's got Horton overlapping in. He chose to chip one in towards the far post. Help back in towards the other side, and then well, Horton lies down exasperated because he was asking Whitehead for the overlapping run on the far side, and I think that was probably the pass that was the better option, but Whitehead chose against it. Walker got space to run into on the edge of the box, uses Rakim Reed. Rakim Reed, it just bounces off him rather than comes into his possession, but it'll come back to Walker. Walker sees Hall on this left-hand side, Hall in towards the edge of the 18-yard box, spilled by the goalkeeper Neil, and then just helped away by Fylde, and there was half a chance there for Rakim Reed to try and get on the edge of it as the goalkeeper Chris Neil just spilt one. Long left-footed ball forward towards Simeon May. Simeon May's run across the whole back line and managed to pick it up in the right forward position. Uses Meredith. Meredith shaped across first time, takes a touch and then whips it in. Headed away by Fylde as far as Joe Clark. Joe Clark out towards Meredith again on this right-hand side. Meredith again in towards Simeon May. Simeon May, chest control, down to Rakim Reed. Reed, low-footed drive across the face of the goal. I think it took a touch off the keeper. It does take a touch off the keeper. It's going to be a corner to the Breaks over on that far side. Good bit of play. Simeon May looked to try and bring it down. It just bounced off him, but Rakim Reed fired in a low drive across the goal face, across the face of the goalkeeper Chris Neil, who just helps it wide. Clark's put under pressure, and then it's just robbed away from him. Clark's going to need to stand on it and do well, and Clark does really well. Theo Street again. Across towards Jack Lane in those lime green boots on that far side. Sprays a lovely ball out towards Louis Hall. Hall inside opposition territory uses Kelly Evans. Kelly Evans in towards Adam Walker, who's in the centre circle. And again, Dan Meredith is getting a lot of space on this right-hand side. Meredith measures across in towards the far post. Louis Hall's there. Louis Hall gets a push in the back and the referee waves it away. Well, for me, that looked like it could have been a penalty to the breaks, but the referee is not interested and we play on. Jack Lane heads one back in towards midfield where Joe Clark is waiting. Walker into the feet of Louis Hall. Louis Hall is bundled to the floor again, and now Louis Hall is going to go and protest about the penalty that he thinks should have been given moments ago. And for me, Jack, it looked like he certainly got a shove in the back as he arrived at the far post.
Yeah, it's one of those where there's momentum from the right back and there's momentum from Louis, so it doesn't take much, but he didn't like push his hands away from his body. It didn't look like it separated the two of them, but even a little touch can make you go down there, and you've seen him give him.
Kelly Evans in towards the penalty spot. Theo Street in space. Theo Street is offside, and it's a poor finish anyway because it's straight into the arms of the goalkeeper, Neil.
Something's coming though. Something's coming.
Like Jack Edwards says, it does feel like something's coming from the breaks. All the momentum's with them. Neil out to Pearce, who signed in June of this year, the ex-Knox County, Kings Lynn, Halifax. Plenty of experience, and he's using all of that experience. He's also played international under-21 level. As Breaks lose the ball inside the box, but it's offside and it won't count. It's put away neatly by Charman, but he was a good half a yard offside, but Breaks just giving the ball away a little bit sloppily on the edge of their own 18-yard box. And it'll be a throw-in for Conlon right in front of us here at Co-op Community Stadium. Reed's got space to run into. Raheem Reed attacking the back line. Raheem Reed on the edge of the box now, helps it in towards the far post. There's nobody there, and it'll be cleared away by Fylde. Reed just needed a bit more composure, a bit more direct play there. He could have had to go to try and get at him, as Louis Hall has been forced out of play, and it's a straight red. A straight red for Connor Barrett on the far side. Stupid.
He kicked out of Louis just as he got away from him. He just kicked out of him, and Louis went to ground. What a ridiculous thing to do, and that really puts him under pressure.
Bench aren't happy with him either. He tried to argue his case to the bench, and you saw the interim manager Andy Taylor just point to the changing room, so they're clearly not happy with him as well. It's right in front of their bench as well. Kelly Evans, Joe Clark trying to get across the goalkeeper and make himself a nuisance. So is Raheem Reed. Adam Walker's taken a position up on the edge of the box with Louis Hall. Kelly Evans in towards the near post. It's over everyone's head and it's in! It's a header by Joe Clark! Joe Clark runs to Devon Kelly Evans. All the Breaks players go over to celebrate. It was drilled in. It was over the head of the recently introduced Will Hatfield, and Joe Clark, who took up a position on the goalkeeper, just stepped away a couple of yards and then flicked a header back towards the goal. It came cannoning down off the crossbar and then was fired home. And it's Leamington 1, AFC Fylde 1, and it's a goal from Joe Clark. So, Leamington, against the 10 men, have done exactly what they needed to do when you come up against 10 men. They've got a quick goal and they've got themselves back level, and the Breaks fans are in fine voice now behind the goal of Chris Neal. It's a loose ball again, and Joe Clark will try and keep it in, and does keep it in. And like you say, he's just trying to dictate play. Clark sends one into the channel towards Hewlett. Hewlett holds it up on the edge of the box, but it's just robbed of it. Simeon May steps in again, though, and helps the Breaks win it back. Clark out to Usher Shipway. Usher Shipway points where he wants the runners, and Clark now has it about 5 yards outside the 18-yard box. Clark just takes his time, just sends it out to Meredith now. Meredith measures the cross in towards the far post. Kelly Evans springs, doesn't quite get there. Hall works it back in towards the middle. It's headed away by a Fylde head, only as far as Simeon May on the edge. He offloads towards Clark again. Clark seeing plenty of the ball in this second half. Clark in towards Walker. Walker lets it run across his body. Left-footed drive, half a yard wide. Good effort. Breaks are asking for a corner. The referee obliges.
Yeah, we look confident, and this is not a Fylde team that I've seen before. We played against 10 men against Fylde, and they keep the ball, they put you under pressure. These are here for the taking.
Devon Kelly Evans will try and make the difference with a delicious delivery again. Can he get it into the same area? It goes towards the same area, and it's Simeon May who gets half a glancing header on it, but it's wide, out of play on the opposite side. It'll be a goal kick to Fylde. Again though, great delivery from Kelly Evans. It was a lovely delivery onto the head of Joe Clark for the goal, and then again, lovely flat bullet point cross in from the corner by Devin Kelly-Evans. Usher Shipway in towards the edge of the box, headed away really well, but only as far as Usher Shipway has done well to follow it up. Towards the far post, Kelly-Evans springs, comes towards Theo Street. Theo Street looked like a massive handball. Penalty to Leamington. Well, Will Hatfield isn't happy. He's saying that where can I put my arms? But Theo Street hit an absolute rocket. It was goal bound and it cannoned off the arms of the outstretched Will Hatfield. And Will Hatfield is still lying on the ground. And the referee is in fact going to book him for a deliberate handball as well. And Will Hatfield is showing a big red mark on his chest and saying, this is where it's hit me. He's not happy with the linesman either, but the referee's not going to change his mind, and Will Hatfield gets a booking.
I've got to say, I feel for him. What are you supposed to do there? Like, that is, this handball rule is shambolic.
I couldn't agree more. In these situations, the FA need to make a decision and say, if it's in that sort of scenario, it's an indirect free kick.
It's a harsh penalty, but we more than deserve to be having the opportunity.
88th minute, Tom Hewlett will be right-footed from the man on loan from Burton Albion. Can he get his third goal in a break shirt? He steps up, right-footed, and saved. No, it's not, it's buried home. I thought it was saved because the keeper got both hands on it, did it, Chris Neal? But Tom Hewlett runs to the breaks fans, and well, it wasn't the most convincing penalties. Like I say, I thought initially it had been saved, but Chris Neal holds his head in his hands. He got both hands to it, but Tom Hewlett is over the moon. So are his family on the left of us. He gives them a big clap, and all the breaks players go across to congratulate Tom Hewlett, who gets his third goal in his fifth start. Jack Lane's patting him on the back of the head. Devin Kelly-Evans is there as well, and the breaks are 2-1 up.
What a fantastic moment for the kid. 3 goals in 5 games. He's taken his chances before. And look, I think it's a very harsh penalty.
But either way, it doesn't matter, because Leamington have turned this around in the second half. They were 1-0 down at the break. The goal from Nick Horton, buried into the top corner with aplomb, took Fylde into a 1-0 half-time lead at the break. But in the second half, Leamington applied themselves really well. In all fairness, they applied themselves really well throughout the whole game. It's certainly an Acker ruiner today. Leamington have picked up 3 points this afternoon here at Ucoa Community Stadium. It's finished here today. AFC Fylde 1, Leamington 2.
So, Paul, we spoke after the Alphington game and you said that there needed to be a bit more of a performance from the lads. Was that all you wanted out there against Fylde, the 3 points? Great performance?
Yeah, I think, listen, we showed signs of it probably last hour, last week at Chorley, where certainly second half, where we had a bit more purpose to our game, a bit more intent. It's probably helped us not having some midweek games. We've worked really hard last couple of weeks, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and done a lot of work on set plays. But we didn't work on that one. It's listen, these are a real good honest bunch, and even at the first half there, where we were down 1-0, you know, when you've got players like that putting the legwork in, the amount of effort they put in, and I was so happy that second half they've got what they deserved today. I mean, listen, I'm first to stand here and. When we've been a bit fortunate or we haven't been good enough, but today, from the minute go, I thought from 1 to 15, 16, we were excellent. I thought we played with a real purpose, lots of energy, and listen, the best side won. And I think it's a massive compliment for us. I actually think that performance is the most complete performance of the season. What's the difference between that and the last few performances? I think we've cut out probably the individual errors. I think our pressing, our compact was better. A bit more quality. You know, the team's evolving a little bit. There's young players, there's legs in there. Got to be a bit braver, to throw the ball out more, pass the ball more, which we did. And you know, when you think there's probably 2 or 3 sides in this division that can win the league, and these are one of them. We've beat good full-time sides here before, and we've had to really play deep and soak it up. But today, I think we've actually gone after them, and it was, I'm so delighted with that performance. I really am, and when you got the bunch I've got, it's so great for them because they're a great bunch of kids. So it's great. I'm absolutely delighted. Yeah.
How important is it to now build on this momentum going into the next games?
Yeah, got a tough run of games. With Fylde and Darlington and Scarborough, Blythe away, Curzon away. It's tough, but that's this league, and you've got to. But that's where we want to be. But we're all aware that the resources of some of the clubs are different to ours, but you've got a mixture of really good, young, hungry players who want to progress, and some good, experienced players. Your Theos, your Liney's, your Joe Clarks, your Walkses. Got that spine, set the standards. And then those young kids, the Merediths, the Halls, Dev today, Ben Usher, Shipway, the two lads up top, they've shared that role there today. And, it's, you've got to go through the pain, the work you've got to put in today and this week to make sure you're ready for a team like Fylde, but there's no better feeling when that penalty's going in the net and you're coming off the pitch and, it's what you work for, you do all that work for, so it'll... might be just a little reminder to them that they're a good side. Sometimes this league tests your character, belief, everything, structure. So when you have a tough month, so I think sometimes the young lads sometimes you start doubting, and listen, I've managed at this level for a long, long time. If I wanted an easy ride, I wouldn't manage Leamington, and I know what we go through. It's to work to stay in this division, to work at this division, to improve, the biggest thing the last few weeks was just getting the players back on track and understanding the roles a little bit more, bit more belief on the ball, and I'm putting a lot more legwork in, which I think you've seen probably second half at Chorley and today. So, and when you do that, you'd be surprised what happens, and I think it was all there for everyone to see today.
We saw at the end there you gave it a bit with the fans as well. How important was it to give them a performance like that and the atmosphere they provided today?
Because listen, we've been hard working, we've structured, and but there hasn't been many moments probably like today where we've come back from behind and two late goals and a late penalty and the drama of today's game, and that's we're here to entertain. So it was great, and the atmosphere was electric coming off, and you just have a bit of fun with them, don't you? So it was great fun, yeah.